Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Star Citizen Alpha 3.4.3 has had various issues with crashing, most notably at the moment client crashes and disconnections. Although overall Star Citizen's stability when it comes to servers and clients and stuff and bugs does seem to be going up, it does seem to be getting better, it's suddenly become a bit more unstable as of the last couple of minor patches. There was a Spectrum thread titled, "Why aren't you fixing the 30,000 error server disconnects?" There were some dev responses given there, and then even more on Reddit, which I would like to talk about today. Morgan64 on Spectrum started a thread. How come all this time you aren't doing anything about the error 30,000 server disconnects? When that happens, ships disappear permanently and they have to reclaim them. Why aren't you doing anything about it? I'd like to know what's going on. What is causing all those error 30,000 server disconnects? Bearded CIG responded, error 30,000 happens when something goes wrong with a game client's connection to a game server. Usually this is a server crash, but it can also be caused by internet outages, problems with local networks, etc. Over the course of the game's development, we fixed a rather huge amount of these bugs. Most of the server crash bugs to date have been written by me since I'm a DevOps engineer and have access to all the information and admin permissions needed to write the bugs. I've also written more bugs than anyone else in the company. In addition to that, I spend time for almost every PTU and live release to calculate how badly server and client crashes are affecting players, so that our producers can properly prioritize how much development time is to be spent fixing these stability issues versus other issues that might not be affecting players as much. The analytics that I use to gather information specifically for server crashes were implemented by Tom Sawyer, Principal Server Engineer, whom also helps out by making improvements and bug fixes to these analytics. Our player relations team does their best to make sure that when these issues get fixed, that they call them out in our PTU and live patch notes. So anytime they mention that a server crash was fixed, that oftentimes reflects work done by multiple departments in the company. Since we're an alpha, we have a specific level of stability that we aim for, and once we've reached that, we focus on having programmers address egregious gameplay issues. As for what's causing them, that will change from one release to the next. Most commonly, when we're making changes to core game systems or making new features, it will cause new server crashes that then have to be investigated and fixed. The issue with characters losing their ships when the server goes down is a gameplay issue that is going to require additional work on persistence and supporting gameplay systems to address, and that's kinda outside my area of expertise since I'm not a designer, thus I can't go into detail on that part. In regard to client crashes, Bearded CIG also said, so the funny thing is about this is sometimes we actually crash on purpose because the server or the game client crashing is preferable to the alternative. The example being, notice how there haven't been error 30,007 disconnects recently. I know at least some of them, possibly all of them, but Clive would have to confirm or deny that for me, were made to crash the game client that was causing the error. We do this for two reasons. One is that rather than leave game servers in a state where no one can connect to them, the game client causing the disconnection error gets removed. At the same time, that crash dump can sometimes give us an idea as to what needs to be fixed. So, in that situation, it's actually better to have it crash. We have similar situations for the game server as well, where we will have to put an intentional crash into the game code if a specific kind of circumstance happens so that we can get better debug info on how to fix what's going wrong. The conversation then continued on Reddit with Bearded CIG. I wouldn't say this is an explanation for the crashes in the latest patch, because this is something that we've been doing for a while. FlexOPXP said, shouldn't that kind of intentional crash code be reserved for the PTU? I thought the PU was supposed to be for the most stable build they have at the moment. Bearded replies, not exactly. Let's say that there's a character in a game server that's causing a connection error for anyone that tries to load into that server. It's better to crash out that character than leave them in the server in a bad state. In that kind of situation, one game client crashing is much more preferable. A lot of situations where these intentional crashes take place are situations like that where the crash is a preferable result. DOAM1 said if someone has experienced more crashes than most other people, might this be a cause? And if so, is there something they should or could do other than the usual delete user folder? There are a lot of reasons as to why someone's game client would encounter crashes more often than another. File corruption, out-of-date operating system, different hardware specifications, etc. If we were to assume that two people's computers were exactly the same and one person was encountering more crashes, it means that they have a play style that is better at reproducing crashes that haven't been fixed. There are some features in the game that don't get used as often, and because of that, crash data related to them will be submitted less frequently than other kinds of crashes. I just thought that whole conversation was quite interesting. Obviously, Star Citizen is very much in alpha still, with new features causing lots of new crashes and issues as they come into the game. They clean these up largely, but then new features get added again. Once more of the core game is completed, this should actually mean that instability is much less common. Compared to last year's, Star Citizen is in an amazing state with a titanic gameplay area, missions, features, but until Star Citizen has got closer to a beta phase, expect some patches to be more unstable than others. Obviously, in PTU and Evocati, this is going to be immensely unstable. This is what those phases are for. We'll have to see how the new flight model, physicalized components, and full persistence, when they're implemented later this year, hopefully during that Evocati and PTU phases, they'll be able to fix those major bugs and infuriating client crashes. But those are the sort of core mechanics and core components of the game that cause a lot of issues. It could be argued that 3.4.2 and 3.4.3, the latest couple of minor patches we've had, could have gone through the PTU phase a little more before being deployed to avoid situations like this, but it's something that's just going to happen, it seems. Something that Star Citizen does do pretty well at the moment, though, is recovering from client crashes, and very often you'll be able to load straight back into where you were without loss of ship or progress. This isn't always the case, and obviously server crashes mean you've lost your current session progress typically, and the ship that you have, which is really, really annoying, and you have to reclaim it. Whatever your thoughts about Star Citizen's current build, progress plods on towards 3.5, and it's very possible that we could get a 3.4.4 patch to try and fix some of these more pressing issues with instability in the game at the moment. I'd love to hear your experiences of Star Citizen 3.4, the current branch that we have, in the comments below. We have a giveaway for a Star Citizen ship for January. We have a standalone Anvil Carrack, the mighty explorer vessel. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and then comment on any of my videos released during the month. You can find more details in the comments below. If you don't have a gaming PC yet, or you are upgrading, instead consider Shadow Cloud Gaming. They allow you to leverage the powers of the internet to stream a high-spec Windows 10 environment to any other PC, Mac, or device like a smartphone or tablet. It is working really well in Star Citizen's 3.4 branch, and be sure to use the code BoredGamer if you do decide to check it out to get a discount. Links below. For those of you wanting to support the channel further, there is Patreon, and I will be looking for an alternative platform as well for people that have requested that. But in addition, or as an alternative to that at the moment, there's the YouTube channel memberships, literally the join button below this video, or direct donations via the links below as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me. Any feedback or opinions is greatly appreciated and helps guide the channel working out what content is a good idea to put out next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.